Hi and welcome to my September review. We start this month as we finished last month with the aspect between Mars and Jupiter still active for a couple of days, but Mercury makes an aspect of both of these as well. So this adds to the positive side of this aspect. With Mercury being in your third house, it's time to get organised, time to get all the tasks done up to date. Time to speak your mind and get things out in the open, solve the problems you need to solve quickly, because on the 10th of September, Mercury will go retrograde for 3 weeks. So this will be a time when the energy turns inward. You can still work with Mercury under this influence. It's a good time to look at your planning, look at your schedule, and maybe make adjustments to your schedule. You might have to do this to fit in with others or to fit in with your financial needs, but just look at things in a positive light and try to make the necessary changes during that retrograde period. And then after 3 weeks is up, everything will start to move forward again, and things will start to then fall into place. On the 6th, we have a very positive aspect between the Sun and the Moon's North Node. Now, the Sun is in your second house of finances, and the Moon's North Node is in the 10th house of career. So this is a fantastic opportunity to increase your financial status and to maybe advance in your career. But there'll be someone there, a guru or a mentor, that will help you and guide you on this part of your journey. Now, the other aspect is from the Sun to the Moon, Black Moon Lilith. Now, this can be a little bit dangerous for you because the Black Moon is in the 12th house of the unconscious. So maybe things happening behind the scenes in your unconscious that you're not aware of. Strong desires or temptations that you need to be aware of and not to fall foul of. Because in the 12th house, the Black Moon can lead you into some dark places. And this can bring out some fantastic fantasies and some fantastic romance and fun, but be aware also that it can take you into the darker side of things. On the 10th, we have our full moon. Now, the full moon is in Pisces, so this is a very magical full moon, and it's a very compassionate and a psychic full moon as well. And it's happening in your 8th house. This is the house of Scorpio, which is also very much into the occult and astrology. This is a great time to look into any of these subjects. And also your perception will be increased, and you'll be psychologically aware of things and undertones that are going on. Now, the full moon's in the 8th house, so there could be a large outlay of cash, maybe a large purchase, or maybe paying off some debts. And there could be some involvement with shared resources with your partner, and it's also a good time to balance the giving and receiving. Now, the following day, on the 11th, we have the Sun making an aspect to Uranus. Now, Uranus is in that 10th house of career, so there may be some important discoveries made on this day about your career and which direction you want to go in. On the 16th, the Sun makes an opposition to Neptune. This is across the money houses. And when Neptune comes in contact with the Sun, things become a bit confusing, a bit blurry. Neptune puts a fog around everything, so it's not a good day for dealing with financial matters. Leave those until this aspect has passed. Two other aspects on this day from Mars to Venus. Which means there's a need for balance within relationships. This can be very good for inspiring romance and to have a great time, but it's also a need for the balance of giving and receiving. The other aspect is to Chiron, and this is a time when you can maybe lay old wounds to rest, old habits or things that maybe have troubled you in the past. Time to have the confidence now to leave them behind and to help yourself with some self-healing of some kind. On the 18th, we have two aspects that help you to transform things around you. One is between the Sun and Pluto in that 6th house, which means that you want to look at your daily routines, look at your diet, your exercise, look at your work schedules, see where you can make changes that will make your life a lot easier and run a lot smoother. The other aspect is between Venus and the Black Moon Lilith. Is Venus in that 2nd house now. So again, this is to do with finances and maybe your possessions as well. Maybe you need to free up, maybe you need to sell some possessions that you're not using anymore so you can free up some money to spend on other things. And on the 19th, we have another aspect, this time between Uranus and the Black Moon Lilith, and also to Venus. This will allow you to free yourself of past limitations. Things that are holding you back will suddenly start to drop away, and this will give you a better idea of what changes and transformations you can make. The new moon in the 3rd on the 25th will be a time when you need to get organised, need to get things done up to date. It's a great time also for communicating and building a rapport with others. And being in Libra, it's about getting balance with these things and putting things in place so that you can have a harmonious life. Now, the other thing we can do in the 3rd is to look at our local environment. This is a time when you can connect with the local environment, perhaps do some interesting and new things that will spark your imagination, because the 3rd house is all about the mind. This is, you need to stimulate the mind with the new moon in this area. Now, the other thing we need to look at is the fact that the new moon is about looking at our relationships to others, looking at how we communicate with others, look at how we interact with others, and other changes that you can make here that will benefit you in the long term. There's a burst of Mars energy on the 26th. This is happening in your 11th house, so it's a good time to interact with a group and put some input of energy into a group situation, or to interact with friends and colleagues. It's a great time also because you've got 5 days to make changes about yourself, and this is where friends can help. If you seek their advice and ask them, they'll help you and make these personal changes that you need to do. And also there's a focus on relationships of all kinds as well, because Saturn is in that 7th house, so changes within relationships, changes within yourself. This is a great time also to set new goals going forward. Then the other aspects on this day are an opposition between the Sun and Jupiter. Now, this is another tricky one because the Sun has now moved into that 3rd house, so it's not a good day for making firm commitments or to signing contracts. Leave that till next month when Mercury goes direct. And the last aspect is between Venus and Mercury. This is a conjunction, but this is a time when, again, communication will be difficult. You'll find it very hard to express your desires. We finished the month on a very dreamy, ethereal note, because Mercury retrograde makes an opposition to Neptune retrograde, so the energy is turned within. This is a great time for meditation, for doing spiritual practices, or for using your imagination. And you may be having some vivid dreams during this aspect as well. It's definitely not a time for signing any contracts or doing paperwork, so leave those until next month. Speaking of next month, we have 3 planets turning direct, including Mercury. We have also an eclipse, and this is a very powerful, intense eclipse in Scorpio, so tune in to hear more.